but it is Tuesday, so we need to get into power rankings. Get good, get great, get out. Starting with, as always, the get lost part, which is the worst teams in the NFL. Let's show them. These are the teams that are just they're not good, man. Let's go through the list. The Jets, look, 9 sacks. Justin Fields, we don't know what's going on. We saw progress last year. Not sure if that progress has continued. Are the Jets the worst organization in football? Like, not only are they bad, but everybody who leaves them suddenly finds a resurgence, even at 40 plus years old. Like, Aaron Rodgers is now playing well after leaving the Jets. We obviously know about Sam Darnold, how he's played post leaving the Jets. Like, are the Jets just the worst organization in football? Robert Saleh is having success as a defensive coordinator again. The Bengals are down here totally just entirely based off their quarterback. Obviously, no Joe Burrow means no real success. The Tennessee Titans, look, man, you fired your head coach. Your quarterback says your ass. I thought this was going to be a playoff team. I was clearly wrong. The Saints, who I will give credit, the Saints are terrible but not hopeless. The Saints, probably out of everybody on this list, probably have the second most hope at quarterback, excluding the Bengals, who really shouldn't be down here because obviously, again, they're down here due to injury. The Saints and Titans have true hope at quarterback. Like, Spencer Rattler has been playing pretty well. He is not the reason they suck. The Cardinals, I just don't take this team seriously. I just can't. I just can't take them seriously. And Kyler's hurt. I don't know what to do with them, guys. Free Marvin Harrison Jr. The Dolphins, well, if your leaders are calling out your leaders and saying leadership is bad, what else do you need me to say? And the Cleveland Browns, look, Myles Garrett, we don't want to hear it. You going on that press conference and saying, man, it's frustrating losing the same way week in, week out, can't score any points. You signed up for this. You asked for a trade, and instead of sticking to your trade demands, you decided to go back and sign, at the time, the richest contract in NFL history for a non-quarterback. No one's going to feel bad for you. Sorry. It is what it is. You chose to be here. Moving on to get out. Look, man, these unfortunately are just not going to be playoff teams. I know the Falcons got a great win last night. I'm still not a believer. I think this team is too inconsistent. The Raiders, I think we are one bad game, which you might see this week against Kansas City, from even Tony dropping his Raiders. The Carolina Panthers are not terrible. The Carolina Panthers are 3-3. I'm not willing to say they're going to be a playoff team because, A, I don't think they can win that division with the start the Bucs got off to. And I don't think they're going to be a wild card because I think there's too many other teams that are going to be above them in the NFC. The NFC North itself, if you go Lions, Packers, I still think the Vikings have a really good shot. The Bears we saw, I think that has a chance. That division might be all the other playoff teams. Like, it's going to be tough, but that might be the 5, 6, and 7 might all be out of the North. And again, I don't think they're going to be able to catch the Bucs in the South. The West, the 49ers, unfortunately, are here because at what point when you're no longer fielding a real roster? Like, Mac Jones is a cool story, and Kyle Shanahan's in my so far coach of the year because of what he's done with all the injuries, but it doesn't take away from the fact of no Fred Warner. We don't know when Kittle's coming back. We don't know when Purdy's coming back. Ayuk, we don't know. Warner's out for the year. Bosa's out for the year. Like, it's Trent Williams and some guys, man, and some duct tape. If they make the playoffs, give Kyle Shanahan a lifetime contract. The Giants are admittedly fun. They're much more fun now and that's all the Giants would be this year. With with Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo, you're exciting. I said this, his stats have not been overwhelming. His stats are pretty much on par with Russell Wilson's stats. But you're going nowhere with Russ because you know what Russ is. He's old. He's not your future. And guys don't really gravitate to him. Jackson Dart is galvanizing this locker room. He is galvanizing the fan base. They are now fun to watch. They're exciting. There is hope. I say this all the time. One of the biggest things you can do in the NFL is give your fan base hope. And Jackson Dart and Scatterboo are giving the Giants hope. The Ravens are just too injured, man. They're 1-5. They're about to go into a bye week. I still think there is potential for a really fun storyline in which Lamar comes back. The Ravens damn near run the table, catch the Steelers. Lamar, for a guy who is going to need narrative to get a third MVP, this is sneaky. If you're a gambling person, go get your Lamar MVP odds. This could be a really sneaky story, but right now they're just way too hurt, in my opinion, to be here. Get good. And these teams are valid to make the playoffs. Starting with the Patriots, I got to take the Patriots seriously. I have not taken the Patriots super seriously this year. Drake May looks like the guy. I think we're getting a little too far, a little too fast to them, but Drake May absolutely looks like the guy. This defense, I still have some question marks. Like, I think this is a good team. I think they could sneak into the playoffs. I don't think they're as... I think they're going to... I would struggle to see them winning a playoff game, but could they make the playoffs? That absolutely has to be on the board. Colts fans, I know you hate this. I'm going to undersell you pretty much all year because I'm just not there with Daniel Jones. Chargers, it's a lot of injuries, guys. Look, the Chargers are clearly a really good football team, but they have a lot of injuries, and I'm not solely comfortable in saying you could just let Justin Herbert be the guy in terms of he's just going to drag you despite all these injuries. I think he's really good. I don't have him in that elite class yet of quarterbacks. And I think we also got to do this with the Chargers. Stop making Justin Herbert's greatness case just a comparison of Tua. We know he's better than Tua. There's no argument there. So it's all good. The Steelers, this is another team I'm going to undersell all year. I just don't see it. And they're better than I thought they were, and I think they were going to be just a 500 team, and I still think that's potential. Like, a week 5 bye is terrible for this team. Like, they're old, they need rest, and having your bye so early in the season, I think this still has late season collapse written all over it. The Cowboys probably should be in get out, but I just want to give some credit to Dak, man. Dak is playing out of his mind. If Baker wasn't playing as well as he was, and the Cowboys had one more win, like if the Cowboys had actually finished that game against the Eagles opening night and had that one additional win, this would be, if the Cowboys had just a decent defense. Like, they're literally last or second to last in almost every major statistical category. So I'm just giving some love to Dak here, man. Dak's been playing great. He would be in an MVP conversation in most other years, but his defense is awful, so they're not going to win enough games. The Texans, it's now or never, man. It's now or never, because I might not believe in the Colts, but that doesn't mean the Colts are going to stop winning games, and they have a pretty easy schedule coming up. So if you're going to catch the Colts, you got to do it now, or at least keep yourself in contention for the wild card. The Bears, again, probably the signature win in the early career of Caleb Williams last night. Yeah, with the Commanders just trying to give him the game by turning the ball over, sure, but you got to take those games when they're given to you. Caleb has played well. I don't know if that necessarily cements him as better than Jayden Daniels. I think the reality of this class, which we're going to talk about this tomorrow. This is how we're leading off to the show for tomorrow. The reality of this class shouldn't be the argument of who's the best, because you're going to have different opinions. And by the end of this year, we're probably just going to say whoever makes it the farthest in the playoffs is going to be the best, unless Bo makes it the farthest in the playoffs. And we're not going to say that because we don't like Bo Nix. The reality of last year's class is, do we just have 6 good quarterbacks? Because that's a win for the NFL. The Seahawks have an argument they should be a little bit higher. Again, I'm using a little bit of Sam Darnold prejudice here, even though he's been great his last now 19 regular season games, or 19 of his last 20 regular season games. That last game against the Lions was standing. But I am holding Sam Darnold against them. Even though I think everything else about this team is getting to that point of we should consider this one of the best teams in the NFL. And with the Rams not playing as great as I think they could have, and the Niners having all these injuries, there's a real chance Seattle wins their division. The Jaguars, the Jaguars are going to play the Chargers in London. I think this is going to be what an if-man battle. Trevor Lawrence, who he's supposed to be, Justin Herbert, who he's supposed to be. I don't believe in the Jaguars enough. And I think they have a really good chance to go down, even in my opinion, because I think this defense, which is getting a lot of turnovers, I don't think it's something that's necessarily sustainable. And Devin Lloyd, who's their guy who's been getting all these interceptions, he's not flying to London. I think they can lose this game pretty convincingly. And so I'm not sold on Jacksonville and Washington. I said this to start the year. Washington is going to be worse than last year. I don't think they're a NFC championship team. I don't think they're one of the 4 best teams in the NFC, but they're good. They lost last night in kind of a freaky turnover game, which is going to happen from time to time. Jaden's already gotten hurt, which is one of the concerns with Jaden Daniels coming into the league and still as he's been in the league. So you've got to make sure this is still a really good football team, but I just can't move them into the great category. And here's the other thing too, and we're going to get to this. I want to clarify this before we get to get great, right? I want to be very clear here. Let's focus. The teams that are great is because they have one great side of the ball. There is no elite team that is doing both offense and defense just clicking. And that'll be who truly ends up separating from the rest of the NFL. Whoever figures it out first and starts getting great play on both sides of the ball will be the team that breaks away from the rest of the NFL. Right now, that doesn't exist. It just doesn't. We'll see, though, if another team can take it. So, that is why. Again, all these teams here and get good have one side of the ball clearly that's humming, and the other side of the ball that's just okay. These teams in get great, and when we go up to one to get excellent, are teams that a dominant side of the football. So the Bills, let's go with the Vikings. Something, and I shouldn't say one side of the ball. Something is dominant. For the Vikings, I think it's their coaching staff. I think Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores argument, I think it's them. I think it's Peyton and Vance Joseph and Reed and Spagnuolo, best coach-coordinator combination in the NFL. The Buccaneers, their fourth quarters. Look, you probably shouldn't be in all these games, and the way they're winning is probably not sustainable long-term, but you can't take away from what they've done. They're 5-1, only loss being to the Eagles. Baker Mayfield will be the MVP if the season ended today. That is a dominant fourth quarter team, which is why they make it to get great. The Eagles is still roster. You still look at this roster and go, O-line, receiver group, running back, defensive line personnel, secondary, linebackers. Like, you still see all the talent that's there, and can they get it together by the time the season ends? The Lions, it's their offense. The Lions and the Chiefs, really, I think so the Lions, it's their offense. 2 running backs, multiple receivers, great tight end, offensive line. Jared Goff just makes this thing hum. Defensively, they're going to have issues. There's a lot there. If Aiden Hutchinson is not dominating or wrecking a game, it can get rough. They already are suffering a lot of injuries again, but it's still one of the best teams in the NFL. The Chiefs, is this the Mahomes you're going to actually see? And I will give Chiefs fans this, even though I don't want to. You are close to being a team that can get in to get excellent. You're close. Because if your defense, and I've been critical of Chris Jones, I don't think it's playing up to his standard as a first ballot, as a Hall of Fame first ballot defensive lineman. I don't think he's played like that this year. I don't think he played like that last year. The secondary, I think, is struggling a little bit. This defense is not as great as it was, but it's still really good. And you believe in Spagnuolo situationally. And if this offense with Rashee Rice, who I think is a little overrated, but neither here nor there, if they're back to scoring 25 to 30 points a game, they will absolutely be a team that moves up and get excellent. The Packers, is Jordan Love going to continue how he's in playing? Because if he is, this defense can absolutely be dominant. And if Jordan Love in this offense, again, similar to the Chiefs, has a chance to move and to get excellent. Notice, I did not say that about the Lions. I did not say that about the Eagles, the Bucks, or the Vikings. There's only a handful of teams I think can truly get in there. The Rams, I think they can get in to get excellent. The Rams just need, unfortunately now, it's going to look really rough here. This is probably not a team that's going to be an excellent for a while. because Puka's going to be out for a couple weeks. And that isn't such a big part of their offense. Can this team fully mesh? Can the defense play a great game as well as the offense play a great game? It looked like you started to see some of that against the Ravens, but that's the most injured team in the league. So how much does that truly stand up? The Broncos, Bo's got to start hitting his deep passes. I think this entire team, it is so much different if Bo starts hitting deep passes. And there's an argument, maybe they don't. Maybe he never starts hitting his deep passes accurately. And if that's the case, I can't put him back and get excellent. If Bo starts hitting his deep passes, this is the best defense in the league. They get after the quarterback the best, best offensive line in football. Sutton, Mims, Troy Franklin, like this receiving core is better than anyone wanted to give it credit for. And then you got the Bills, who this is a Josh Allen story. And depending how great Josh Allen wants to be on any given Sunday, this could be the best team in football. And with that being said, for our teams in Get Excellent, there they are. What's been one of the themes of today's show? There is no elite team. So there is nobody that belongs in Get Excellent. I kicked everybody out of Get Excellent. There is no team that is truly head and shoulders above everybody else. There is no team that is truly head and shoulders clearly the best in the NFL. Again, everybody I just talked about in Get Great. We know the flaws. The Bills, that defense. The Broncos, deep passing game. The Rams, it's now health, and this defense, is it going to play up to its potential? Jordan Love, who is one of the streakiest quarterbacks we have in football. The Chiefs, is that offense actually going to be this? The Lions, their defense, stacking up injuries. The Eagles, self-sabotage from within. The Bucks, why are you in all of these games? And the Vikings, Carson Wentz is your quarterback, man. And we don't know quite when J.J. McCarthy is going to come back. So there is no team that belongs in Get Excellent. There's a bunch of good teams. There's a bunch of great teams. And there's a bunch of bad teams. But there is no elite team in the NFL. I mean, if you want to be a part of one of the coolest, most unique communities, don't forget to like and subscribe.